Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mariela, and I work as Program Coordinator at RIF Asylum Support. If you have an asylum interview coming up, it's completely normal to feel nervous, maybe even overwhelmed. This interview is one of the most important steps in your asylum process because it's your chance to sit down with a USCIS officer and explain, in your own words, why you cannot safely return to your country. In this video, I'll be your guide. We're going to walk through everything you need to know: what the interview is, what to expect on the day, the steps you should take to prepare, the questions you might be asked, and what happens afterward. By the end, you won't just have information, you'll feel more confident and ready for this important moment. So let's begin with the basics. What exactly is an asylum interview? An asylum interview is a one-on-one meeting with a trained USCIS officer. It's not a courtroom, there's no judge, and no ICE prosecutor. Instead, the officer will ask you questions to understand your story and to check whether it meets the legal definition of asylum. A positive outcome here can truly change your life. It can protect you from deportation, give you the right to work, open the path to permanent status and citizenship, and even allow you to bring your family to the United States. And what if you aren't approved? Don't panic. That doesn't mean your case is over. It simply means your case will move to immigration court, where you'll have another chance to explain your situation before a judge. Now, one important update. Interviews in 2025 are being scheduled more quickly. Sometimes people get an interview within just weeks of applying. That means you have less time to prepare, which makes it even more important to start early and prepare well. Now, let's imagine the actual day. You wake up early. You check your notice letter again to make sure you know the right address. Depending on where you live, it could be Newark, New Jersey, or Bethpage, Long Island if you are, for example, in the New York area. The letter always tells you where to go, so double check please. When you arrive, it feels a bit like going through airport security. You'll go through a metal detector, then you may be fingerprinted and photographed, even if you have done biometrics before. After that, you'll be waiting in a waiting room until your name is called. And let me be honest, you could be waiting for hours. So bring a snack, water, a sweater, and something for your children to do that doesn't involve a phone because phones aren't allowed inside. And what do you need to bring? Definitely your passport or identification, a copy of your asylum application, and all your supporting documents, even if you already sent them in the mail. It's common for papers to get lost in the office, so having them with you is very important. If your spouse or children are included in your case and live with you, they must come as well. If you need an interpreter, remember USCIS does not provide one. You must bring your own. And what about having a lawyer? At this stage, having a lawyer is actually optional. And let me explain what that means because many people don't believe it. USCIS will accept you for the interview even if you don't have an attorney. That's because the interview is designed to be mainly between you and the asylum officer. The officer is the one asking the questions and you are the one answering. If you do bring a lawyer, their role is very limited. In fact, they are usually only allowed to say a few words at the end of the interview if they choose to. That's why being well prepared is so important because in many ways you are your own lawyer during this part of the process. Now, if your case later goes to immigration court, that's when having a lawyer becomes much more important because there you'll face a government attorney and a judge. But for the USCIS interview itself, what matters most is that you know your story, your facts are consistent, and you're ready to answer directly. Alright, so how do you prepare? Let's walk through 5 steps that make all the difference. Step 1. Review your application carefully. Take your Form I-589 and read it as it were the very first time. Go through every page and make sure your personal information is still correct and that your answers don't contradict each other. If anything has changed, like your address, family situation, or details of your case, print out the page, update it, and bring it with you. The officer will always ask if there are any updates, so it's perfectly fine to explain those changes. This step is especially important if you submitted your application several years ago, because a lot may have changed since then. Reviewing it closely will help you feel confident. Step 2. Write your declaration, your personal story. This isn't required, but it's highly recommended. Think of it as your complete story, written clearly and in order. Explain what happened to you, why you're afraid to return, and include details that didn't fit into the form. Sometimes people have already submitted their story in writing, but later realize there are new details or changes they want to add. If that is your case, be ready to explain those changes clearly to the officer. And most importantly, make sure they do not contradict your earlier version. The declaration becomes your guide during the interview. It helps you stay consistent and focused when answering questions. Step 3. Gather and organize your evidence. Now let's talk about your evidence. Collect the documents that support your case: police reports, medical reports, photos, letters, or news articles. Make sure everything is translated into English. You don't need to hire an expensive service. A bilingual translator can provide a simple certification stating the translation is accurate. And here's something important. If you already submitted evidence in the past but now have new documents, you can still bring them with you to the interview. It's also a good idea to send copies of those new documents to USCIS at least 1 week before your interview, so they are officially added to your file. Step 4. Practice your answers out loud. Don't just think about what you say. Actually say it out loud. Practice explaining what happened to you, who harmed you, why they targeted you, and what your government did or didn't do to protect you. And if you'll be using an interpreter, this step becomes even more important. Practice together so you're both comfortable with the flow of your story. You want to be sure your interpreter is reflecting exactly what you are saying, not changing your meaning, not leaving things out, and definitely not saying something contradictory. If the interpreter makes a mistake or misrepresents your words, it could harm your case and even cost you the chance of being granted asylum. So rehearsal with your interpreter is essential. Step 5. Prepare yourself emotionally. This step is just as important as the paperwork. Talking about trauma is painful and nerve can make you forget details. Remember, you can always ask the officer to repeat a question or request a short break if you need one. If you don't remember something, just say so. What hurts people most is inventing details to fill silence, because contradictions can damage your case. Honesty, not. Honesty, not perfection, is what matters. So, now, what questions should you expect? The biggest one is, why are you afraid to return to your country? That's the heart of your case. Be specific. Instead of saying, because it's dangerous, explain who harmed you, when, how, and what happened afterward. The officer may also ask, how many times were you harmed? Did you report it to the police? What the authorities do or fail to do? They want to know if your fear is personal and based on real events. You will also be asked why you were targeted. Was it because of your political opinion, your religion, your ethnicity, your nationality, or because you belong to a particular social group like LGBTQ+ people or survivors of abuse? This connection is absolutely critical because the reason for your persecution must be linked to one of the official asylum categories. In fact, in just a moment, I'll explain these categories in more detail so you understand exactly what they mean and how they apply to your case. And yes, they likely ask about your journey, when you left, if you traveled through other countries, why you didn't apply there, and how you entered the US. Be honest and specific in your answers. So, what your story must prove legally. Here's the key. It's not enough just to tell your story. It must match the law. To qualify for asylum, your case must show three things: you experienced persecution, serious harm, threats, violence, or trauma; the government was either involved or refused or failed to protect you; and you were targeted because a protected reason: your race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. So let's compare. A weak statement will be, my country is dangerous. There are gangs everywhere. A stronger statement would be, I was threatened by a gang because I am openly gay. I reported, but the police refused to protect me. That's why I fled. The second statement is legally stronger because it connects personal persecution, government inaction, and a protected ground, which simply means one of the official asylum categories like political opinion, religion, race, nationality, or membership in a particular social group. So, what happens once it's over? Most people don't get a decision the same day. Instead, you may be told to come back in person a few weeks later to receive your answer. or you may get a letter in the mail with the decision. If you are if you are approved, congratulations. You are officially recognized as an asylee. You can apply for or renew your work permit, apply for a green card after 1 year, and you can petition to bring your spouse or children. If your case is not approved, it will be referred to immigration court. This doesn't mean you'll be deported immediately. It means you'll now present your case to a judge, and this time the government will have an attorney. The process is more formal, and having a lawyer in is very important at that stage. But many people win their cases in court, so don't give up. Before we close, let me share a few final tips. First, always tell the truth. Officers aren't looking for a perfect story, they are looking for an honest one. Second, your emotions are valid. If you need to pause, cry, or say, "This is hard for me," that's okay. Third, don't rush. Answer directly and clearly, but don't wander in circles. Short, precise answers make the officer's job easier, and that helps your case. And finally, remember, you're not alone. Thousands of people have gone through this process. There are organizations, lawyers, and communities ready to support you. Even if it feels heavy, there is hope. There is hope. So, to wrap up, preparation is protection. The more you prepare, the stronger and more confident you'll feel. Your story matters, and you deserve to be heard. And if you have more questions or if you like to get personal guidance for your case, we invite you to join our free legal consultation every Thursday at 12 p.m. New York time. You'll find the link in the description of this video, or you can visit our website to register. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay prepared, and remember, you've got this. Good luck.